Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another lesson here at English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine. And today, Marco, you and I are talking about movies, right?
We're talking a little bit about movies, but mostly we're having a big argument.
Okay, I kind of like arguments. Lots of great words and phrases for you to learn here in English. But we've got an upper intermediate level lesson with some people who are not getting along very well. So
it's a couple, a guy and a girl, and they're having a fight, as couples do. So we're going to be learning a lot of the different language that they are using in this very heated debate. So let's listen to this dialogue for the first time, and then we'll be right back.
Wow, that terrible movie is finally over. Next time I'm picking the film because I don't want to end up seeing a chick flick.
Well, you should have picked. In the end, you always complain about everything.
Not everything, just this film. Even the title is ridiculous, and it's so long. Those were the 2.5 most wasted hours of my life. So much so that I'm thinking about asking them to give me my money back.
I'm thinking of taking you back home. I thought we could have a nice evening, but you're always so negative.
I'm only complaining about a movie that I could have rented or bought and then thrown in the garbage.
You see? That's what I'm talking about. I can't stand your sarcastic jokes anymore.
Next time, go with your gay friend who's more in touch with his feelings.
Well, he's more of a man than you are. At least he appreciates love stories.
Love stories? More like one-night stands.
Don't criticize Mario, or else I'll start on those fat drunk friends of yours. They're no saints.
My friends? Fat? What about those whales you call friends?
You're unbearable. You can walk home. I'm leaving.
Fine.
I think the guy was exaggerating a little bit. What do you think?
I think they were both exaggerating. You know, by the end of an argument, both people are saying things that maybe they don't mean.
I think we'll talk a little bit more about this towards the end of the show, but now why don't we take a look at language takeaway?
Language takeaway.
All right, on language takeaway today we have 4 words, and the first one that you probably saw in the very first sentence is chick flick.
Chick flick. So first of all, the word chick means a woman. It's slang, and it's not very nice.
It's not very nice.
No.
Well, I mean, between guys, you would use it as like, oh, this chick or that chick, but you wouldn't really walk up to a girl and call her a chick, right?
No, you wouldn't say, hey, chick, what's up? That's not something you want to say. So chick is a slang word for a girl or a woman, and a chick flick is a girl's movie.
So a flick is a movie,
Yeah.
Another slang word.
Exactly. So this is the slang phrase for flick. So, hey, Marco, what flicks are showing at the movie theater?
All right.
Yeah.
So movies. So, and a chick flick is usually a romantic movie, a drama, something that's very...
Like Beaches. Beaches is a chick flick. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I've never seen it.
Also, He's Just Not That Into You is one of those new chick flicks.
Or like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Or The Devil Wears Prada.
Bride Wars.
Bride Wars. Wow, lots of chick flicks.
I've actually never seen any one of these except How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I've actually only seen that one.
All right, so chick flick is a girl's or women's movie. And next up we have a word, sarcastic. We're talking about sarcastic jokes.
So sarcastic jokes or somebody being sarcastic.
God, Marco, you're always so sarcastic.
So what would sarcasm sound like?
Yeah, he's really funny.
All right, so it's not really what you're saying, it's kind of how you're saying it.
Right, so it's kind of like by saying, he's really funny. You're saying, yeah, he's a funny guy. But if I say, ugh, he's really funny, I'm saying, he's not funny, he's being mean, or
yeah, he's a jerk.
He's a jerk.
Sarcasm is kind of one of those things that it's a little bit difficult to learn how to do or to actually get it right. Especially in English, right?
Yeah, Marco, great explanation.
Exactly, that's the way it goes.
Oh yeah, you're so funny.
So,
Wow.
You're amazing. You should go to, you went to sarcasm school.
So my parents
You can be
like to
really
say.
mean, Catherine.
Sorry, just kidding.
All right, so apart from being sarcastic, you can criticize someone.
Like you're ever critical.
All right.
Sorry, I'll
Wow.
stop.
You're
All right.
really into character right now.
All right, so critical. To criticize someone is to complain about them or to say that the things that they do are not very good.
So you can criticize a person or a movie.
Yeah, so this movie wasn't very good. It wasn't funny. The actors were bad. It was really long. These are criticisms.
Criticisms. All right. Well, and then moving on, the girl was finally tired of the guy and his complaints, and she said he's unbearable.
Gosh, you're unbearable. So the root of this word is to be able to to stand something, to bear it. And so if you're unbearable, something is unbearable, you just can't stand it.
All right, so you're tired of it, you can't stand it.
She thinks he's so unbearable, she makes him get out of the car.
And she leaves.
Yeah, she said, you can walk home.
All right, so that's an unbearable person, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we took a look at those 4 main words here in our dialogue. Let's move on now to some of the phrases that we found in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
This first one's a common one, especially when we talk about women and men and the relationship between women and men. We say about men that maybe they should be more in touch with their feelings or their feminine side. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're saying to be more in touch with your feminine side, what exactly are you saying?
It's a good question. Well, what you're saying is that you want to be able to express your feelings more, or you want to be able to understand more about your feminine side or something like this. So to be in touch with is more about yourself. It's about self-reflection and self-understanding. So you could say, I'm a very serious person, but I want to make some changes in my life. So I'm trying to be more in touch with my inner child.
Your inner child. All right. So to be in touch with, and it's usually related to feelings, to something intangible,
or
right?
to behavior. Yeah.
To behavior. All right. Moving on now, a heated phrase, a one-night stand.
Oh, I'll let you explain this one, Marco.
All right. So a one-night stand is a casual and very quick temporal encounter that's usually a sexual encounter.
It's romantic, right?
Romantic.
So it can be between 2 different people. They meet each other one night. They have a relationship for one night only, and then they never see each other again. So it's casual.
It's casual, very good. So yeah, you would see this. You see this a lot in shows like Sex and the City and all
Yeah,
that
they have
stuff.
a lot of one night stands in that show.
All right, so a one night stand. And well, related to this, the girl was criticizing his friends, and she said they're no saints.
Okay, so you could say this in many different ways. He's no saint. She's no saint. Or I'm no saint.
You're no saint.
So a saint is a good person. It's a word that we use in religion to say someone who's like Mother Teresa, or someone who's just really good and kind and
Doesn't commit any sins.
Exactly. And so to say I'm no saint is to say, well, I do bad things, or I say bad things. I'm not perfect. Okay. So he or they're no saints. They do bad stuff too.
Yeah, very good. So that's the way that you would use he's no saint, they're no saints. All right, so I think now we should listen to our dialogue for the last time, and we'll be right back.
Wow, that terrible movie is finally over. Next time I'm picking the film because I don't want to end up seeing a chick flick.
Well, you should have picked. In the end, you always complain about everything.
Not everything, just this film. Even the title was ridiculous, and it's so long. Those were the 2.5 most wasted hours of my life. So much so that I'm thinking about asking them to give me my money back.
I'm thinking of taking you back home. I thought we could have a nice evening, but you're always so negative.
I'm only complaining about a movie that I could have rented or bought and then thrown in the garbage.
You see? That's what I'm talking about. I can't stand your sarcastic jokes anymore.
Next time, go with your gay friend who's more in touch with his feelings.
Well, he's more of a man than you are. At least he appreciates love stories.
Love stories? More like one-night stands.
Don't criticize Mario, or else I'll start on those fat drunk friends of yours. They're no saints.
My friends? Fat? What about those whales you call friends?
You're unbearable. You can walk home. I'm leaving.
Fine.
All right, so Catherine, is this an argument that you would say is typical among couples? Or maybe people that are probably about to break up, right?
Yeah, not couples that are happy, I would say. But yeah, you definitely have people who are, well, I guess it's kind of the battle of the sexes, right? You have people who are different genders, and so they don't always understand each other. You want to have your girlfriends as a girl, and your girlfriends behave and talk in a certain way together, and guys do the same thing, but with their friends. And so sometimes you have these clashes, these interactions that are negative, and when people are upset with each other, they say mean things.
And especially, I think in this case, they don't really like each other's friends.
Exactly.
And that's a kind of a common thing. Like a guy doesn't like his girlfriend's friends because maybe they gossip too much or something like that. And the same thing with the girls, right? Because a guy's friends maybe drink too much,
play too many card games.
They're single.
So I think a lot of times these problems also have to do with the fact that, like, when a girl is with her girlfriends, she maybe acts differently, or when a guy's with his guy friends, and so that's weird sometimes for the relationship because you see your partner acting differently with other people.
Right.
So. Do you like your boyfriend or girlfriend's friends? Do you get in fights about this kind of stuff?
Or you know what? The in-laws.
Ooh, that's a whole nother situation.
That's a whole other situation.
Absolutely.
All right, so we want to hear from you. And also, if you have any questions or comments, suggestions, come to EnglishPod.com and you can leave it on our lessons page, or you can email us at EnglishPod@praxislanguage.com.
We hope to see you on the website in the near future. Please get in touch with us. That's all for today. So bye-bye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. A film that appeals to women.
Chick flick.
The use of words to show irritation.
Sarcastic.
To be in close contact with.
In touch with.
A random and temporary romantic encounter.
One night stand.
To express disapproval.
Criticize.
Too bad to be accepted or endured.
Unbearable.
Let's try that faster. To be in close contact with.
In touch with.
To express disapproval.
Criticize.
A film that appeals to women.
Chick flick.
The use of words to show irritation.
Sarcastic.
A random and temporary romantic encounter.
One night stand.
Too bad to be accepted or endured.
Unbearable.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Chick flick. My girlfriend dragged me to go see another chick flick. Chick flick. This channel only shows chick flicks. Chick flick. The chick flick genre enjoyed great success a few years ago. I can't stand the weather here. It's too hot. She told me she can't stand me, and then she left. Now I'm all alone. Turn that music down. I can't stand country western. Sarcastic. Don't be so sarcastic because it's really obnoxious. Sarcastic. Thank you for the wonderful service, the customer said sarcastically. Sarcastic. Many performers use sarcasm for comedic effect. In touch with. Let's see this chick flick and get in touch with our feminine side. In touch with. He's just more in touch with his feelings, but he's not gay. In touch with. Please remember to write and stay in touch. Unbearable. I couldn't stand the flight attendant's unbearable politeness. Unbearable. The summers here are unbearable because of the heat. Unbearable. This music is unbearable. Turn it down.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition here at English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine, and today we've got a great upper intermediate level lesson for you all about animal and human rights.
Right. So it's a very debatable topic. People want to protect animals, mistreatment of animals. And this is what we're going to talk about today, protecting animals and giving them rights. Do you think animals have rights?
Well, I think we could leave that for the end. I don't want to, influence the argument here in today's dialogue. But yeah, as you've said, I think it's very much a topic that people can go both ways on.
Mm-hmm. So why don't we listen to our dialogue as two people discuss animal rights, and let's get their opinions on things.
You should have seen the TV show that was on last night. The topic it covered was really interesting. Animal rights.
Do you really believe in that? If they're going to focus on something, they should do it on civil rights.
Yes, but we can't deny that animals are vulnerable, defenseless, and are completely at the mercy of human beings.
I understand your point, but we continue to have transgressions against human rights. If so much attention weren't devoted to the topic of animals, we would then concentrate more on saving a human being instead of protecting a koala.
You can't compare apples and oranges. I believe that both topics are important, and that we can't ignore them. The mistreatment of animals can cause a great environmental imbalance. I believe that governments should prohibit activities like poaching.
Well, you are right on that point. This is the reason that I don't buy leather and I try to buy synthetic products.
At least you're doing your part. My contribution is to have a pet in the house that I treat like a member of the family.
As long as you don't treat it better than your wife, it's fine.
All right, we're back, and both of them have good points, right? In favor and against. And as you said, they also talk about human rights, which is also a very important topic. But before we discuss this topic, why don't we take a look at the language that was used now in Language Takeaway?
Language takeaway.
All right, so in Language Takeaway, our first word today is vulnerable.
Okay, vulnerable is a great word. It's a way to describe something. And so something is vulnerable if it can't really protect itself.
So you are in danger of being hurt.
Exactly.
Right? So you're vulnerable. Now, this isn't only used for animals, right? It can be like an army is vulnerable if they don't have strong defenses on the border or something.
Right, or my emotions. I'm feeling vulnerable because I just had a really horrible week and I'm really depressed and I'm emotionally vulnerable.
Okay, very good. So vulnerable. And they also talked about transgressions against human rights.
All right, so a transgression is a thing, it's a noun. And transgression is like doing something harmful to or
against someone
or something.
So a transgression, it's a noun. So is it doing something in a bad way? Or
exactly, it's a bad thing.
It's always negative. You can't.
Exactly.
It's not positive, right?
Right, and so in many prayers, for example, in the Christian faith, you say, Lord, forgive me for my transgressions, for having kind of crossed the line from doing good things to bad things. So you're doing bad things.
Very good. So that's a good way of putting it, to cross the line, to kind of go beyond where you should. All right, so transgressions. And now another very serious problem in the world is poaching. And that's one of the things that they said they should control, poaching.
All right, you might have heard this word in a different context because it does have another meaning, but I'm just going to explain the one meaning here that we're talking about, which is killing animals, especially for sport or for selling their skins and their furs.
Right, so that's poaching. What's the difference between poaching and hunting?
Hunting can be legal, poaching is illegal.
Okay, so that's the main difference. Hunting is usually for sport. You hunt either for food or for sport, right? Legal hunting. But poaching is usually you want to sell, like you said, the fur or the skins or something.
Or the tusks on rhinos or something like that.
Exactly. All right, so poaching. And then they talked about synthetic products. So what is a synthetic product?
Well, synthetic product is something that is man-made. So it's not natural in that it doesn't come from the earth. Cotton is a natural product, and plastic, for example, is synthetic. Or another example.
Nylon.
Nylon is a really good synthetic product. And so people who don't want to use animal products like wool or leather, they prefer to use synthetic products.
And I think maybe you've heard this in clothing. It's called synthetic fibers, right? Like nylon or polyester.
Exactly.
These are all the words that we have for language takeaway today. So why don't we move on now to a couple of very interesting phrases that we saw in the dialogue now in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Okay, this first phrase is, it's a common one, but it's definitely not used in very happy circumstances. We say that something or someone is at the mercy of someone else.
Okay, so animals are at the mercy of human beings.
What does this mean exactly, mercy?
So basically, it means that the animals, in this case, don't have control of what's going on. So human beings are the ones that control everything. So if I decide to kill them, then they are at my mercy, at my will, at my whim.
Exactly. And so you could say, I'm at your mercy, Marco. Please just help me out with this. It's like you're the one in control. You're the one who can help the situation. Will you help?
Exactly. I'm at the mercy of someone. And then they were talking and debating this thing, and an interesting comparison came up. You can't compare apples and oranges.
All right, you're going to hear this all the time in English. It's not just a funny little phrase that the person uses. It's a very common idiom. And so we say, it's like apples and oranges, or you can't compare apples and oranges. And this is essentially saying these are two different things.
Completely different.
Completely different. So I can't compare him and her because it's apples and oranges. They're two different things, two different people.
Right. Because that's what in the movie you said they were like peas and carrots.
They just go together
They go
well.
together? Does that make sense?
Not really. Forrest Gump was a little bit strange like that. But I think the meaning is that if I say that's a big apple and I say that's a small apple, they're all apples, so I can compare them. But I say this is a really big orange and that's a really big apple. Well, they're different.
Yeah,
you just can't compare them.
All right. And towards the end, the person said that you're doing your part. You're doing your part.
Yeah. So this is a hard one to understand sometimes because it's not like a part in a play. It's more like a part in society. You're helping make society or culture or civilization better.
So you're contributing.
Exactly.
So, for example, what would be an example of a person doing their part towards society?
Well, for example, I don't own a car. I ride my bike, and it's my way of doing my part to help the environment.
Okay, very good.
Because I can't buy a factory that's, very green, or I can't do all these things to change the world. So I'm going to do small things those are my way of doing my part.
Okay. So like another example would be recycling. That's doing your part.
Exactly.
Or in this case, the person bought only synthetic products, nothing made from nature. All right, very good. So very interesting phrases. Why don't we listen to our dialogue for the last time, and then we'll be right back.
You should have seen the TV show that was on last night. The topic it covered was really interesting. Animal rights.
Do you really believe in that? If they're going to focus on something, they should do it on civil rights.
Yes, but we can't deny that animals are vulnerable, defenseless, and are completely at the mercy of human beings.
I understand your point, but we continue to have transgressions against human rights. If so much attention weren't devoted to the topic of animals, we would then concentrate more on saving a human being instead of protecting a koala.
You can't compare apples and oranges. I believe that both topics are important and that we can't ignore them. The mistreatment of animals can cause a great environmental imbalance. I believe that governments should prohibit activities like poaching.
Well, you are right on that point. This is the reason that I don't buy leather and I try to buy synthetic products.
At least you're doing your part. My contribution is to have a pet in the house that I treat like a member of the family.
As long as you don't treat it better than your wife, it's fine.
All right, so a debatable topic, animals and animal rights. What do you think?
Well, I'll say this. I would be a hypocrite if I said that it's bad to hurt animals because I'm a meat eater. I like to eat meat and I like to wear leather. But I do think it's bad to mistreat animals. So I try to buy free-range chicken or meat from places I know that treat the animals well. And I definitely disagree with poaching and with using animals, especially endangered animals, for money and cash purposes. And so that's my position. But what's yours? I mean, I know you eat meat too.
No, yeah, of course. And I think even though protection of animals is a very important topic and you don't want the mistreatment of these little creatures that are very vulnerable to us because we're smarter than them in the end. But I think also it has to do a lot with superstition sometimes and kind of mystical and magical things. For example, people killing rhinos because they believe that the rhino horn has amazing curing properties, or the same thing with elephant tusks and stuff like that. So it also it involves this certain aspect that people almost don't know any better. They truly believe that these things actually work or that they will help them. So they don't consider the like in the dialogue said, the imbalance that they create in the environment or the consequences.
Or there might be some very serious evolutionary consequences that we cannot even imagine. And so, things change kind of over time, sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly. But if we force change really quickly, who knows what the results are going to be? It might be really negative for us.
Exactly, and that's what we want to know now. What do you think about these topics? Because in the end, the environment, animals, they're all connected. If you wipe out all the foxes in a forest, then you're gonna have you're gonna have too many snakes running around, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Come to EnglishPod.com and you can leave all your questions, comments, or suggestions, and we're always there to help out.
So we hope to see you there, and until next time, everyone, goodbye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. The rights people have.
Civil rights.
Capable of being decomposed by natural means.
Biodegradable.
Easily hurt or harmed.
Vulnerable.
A prolonged period of time during which no rain falls.
Drought.
Defenseless.
Defenseless.
A severe shortage of food.
Famine.
In a position where you can be harmed.
At the mercy of.
The part of the Earth's surface and atmosphere inhabited by living things.
Biosphere.
Something that is not allowed.
Transgression.
A general term for the research activity that creates a copy of some biological entity.
Cloning.
An unfair comparison of two different things.
Apples and oranges.
To illegally hunt protected animals.
Poach.
Not natural.
Synthetic.
To help accomplish a goal.
Do your part.
Let's try that faster. The rights people have.
Civil rights.
The part of the Earth's surface and atmosphere inhabited by living things.
Biosphere.
Something that is not allowed.
Transgression.
Easily hurt or harmed.
Vulnerable.
An unfair comparison of two different things.
Apples and oranges.
In a position where you can be harmed.
At the mercy of.
To illegally hunt protected animals.
Poach.
Defenseless.
Defenseless.
A severe shortage of food.
Famine.
Capable of being decomposed by natural means.
Biodegradable.
Not natural.
Synthetic.
A general term for the research activity that creates a copy of some biological entity.
Cloning.
To help accomplish a goal.
Do your part.
A prolonged period of time during which no rain falls.
Drought.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Vulnerable. The wound is vulnerable to infection. Vulnerable. A dry forest is vulnerable to fires. Vulnerable. The spawning salmon is vulnerable to predators. At the mercy of. The city is at the mercy of the forest fire. At the mercy of. The lost sailors were at the mercy of the vast ocean that lay ahead of them. At the mercy of. Our city is at the mercy of criminals and gangsters. Something must be done. Transgression. All transgressions of the law will be severely punished. Transgression. She was guilty of the worst moral transgression. Transgression. There are legal consequences for those that transgress the law. Apples and oranges. You can't compare Batman and Superman. It's like apples and oranges. Apples and oranges. The two operating systems are so different. They're like apples and oranges. Apples and oranges. You can't compare those two authors. It's like comparing apples to oranges. Do your part. Do your part. Don't litter. Do your part. Your wife looks so tired. You haven't been doing your part around the house. Do your part. Do your part to prevent climate change and try riding your bike to work.